Hello, all you freedom-loving people. While the wildfires still spread in California, some miracles have occurred as well. The Greenland leader plans to talk to President Trump, and Michael Cohen seems to be afraid. But why? Okay, let's get into it. An earthquake with a preliminary magnitude of 6.9 struck the Kyushu region of southern Japan on Monday. The Japan Meteorological Agency, the JMA, said that the quake struck at 9 p.m. local time on Monday, which is 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and the JMA later issued a tsunami warning. NHK reported that waves of up to 20 centimeters reached Miyazaki City after the tsunami warning was issued. However, later, the public warnings to stay away from the coastal areas were later lifted. The city has a population of 400,000 people. The extent of the damage has not yet been determined. As a precautionary measure, residents of coastal cities have been advised to evacuate. The JMA is estimating whether the quake is related to the Nankai Trough. In August last year, the JMA first issued a warning that Japan was facing a higher risk of a once-in-a-century earthquake due to strong earthquakes in the vibrating bed area of the Nankai Trough. The Palisades Fire in California consumed nearly 16,000 acres of land and left many celebrities losing their multi-million-dollar homes, but there are some surprising miracles in the fires. Conservative Hollywood star James Wood, a two-time Oscar nominee and three-time Emmy winner, has been a hot name in recent days. On Wednesday, he spoke to TV cameras about his hasty evacuation from his home. He broke down in tears at an emotional point. He just finished renovating his home and he swims every day in his pool. But maybe tomorrow that pool won't be there. He couldn't imagine never seeing his favorite house again. But when he drove back on Friday, he was surprised to see his house still standing. He wrote on X, "A miracle has happened. We managed to get to our property, and our home that we were told is gone forever is still standing. In this hellish landscape, standing is relative, but smoke and other damage is not like the utter destruction around us." He posted a video of the view from his deck.
That's Pali High School. This is everything below us. Oh my God. It's our neighbor's house. Our hillside. Yeah. Sarah and Francis, whose father we saved, is now putting out fires on our hillside. Oh, Jesus, look at this. Oh my God.
But what I'm even more impressed with is the neighborhood spirit that he showed in the face of the disaster. Woods was on his way to evacuate when he suddenly thought of a 94-year-old neighbor. This man was in the hospital. But to be sure, Woods called his son in Boston to make sure his neighbor wasn't living at home. To his surprise, the neighbor's son hadn't heard about the fire. He was in a business meeting and he told Woods that his father moved back from the hospital just the night before, so the old man was at home with a health caregiver. Woods and his wife wanted to go back and check if the old man was evacuated, but it was impossible. So he called 911. Then he called another neighbor, a young man who decided to stay to fight the fire to save his house. Woods asked the young man to go see if the old man needed any help. At that point, the health care worker had left the old man on his own in the house. The front door was wide open. The young man went to the house and saw nobody. He yelled, no answer. Woods told him to check a small room behind the pantry. The young man did so and found the old gentleman was there alone. Both of them evacuated from the house 1 hour before the house was destroyed. In both the East and the West, traditional values recognize that if a person has escaped a major catastrophe, then he must have done some extraordinary good deeds, and saving a life is certainly such a good deed. The largest of the Los Angeles fires, the Palisades Fire, changed direction on Saturday and it spread east toward the Brentwood neighborhood and the foothills of the San Fernando Valley. Residents of these two areas have been asked to evacuate. Kamala Harris owns a house in Brentwood. Her house is in the area being asked to evacuate. From an aerial view, you can get a clearer picture of how ferocious the fire is. By Sunday night, the death toll had risen to 24. The Los Angeles County Coroner's Office and the Los Angeles County Fire Department started to use cadaver dogs to find additional victims of the fires. Los Angeles' poor state of firefighting has been a hot topic of public criticism lately. We've heard about the issues of no water in hydrants and the budget cuts for the fire department. In addition, according to a leaked memo dated January 6, merely a day before the Palisades Fire ravaged the region, Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass demanded an additional $49 million in budget cut to the already cash-strapped Los Angeles Fire Department, and she proposed shutting down 16 fire stations across the city. California is a fire-prone area, so it's incomprehensible why government officials would make such a decision. Faced with the out-of-control disaster and public criticism, California Governor Gavin Newsom ordered an independent investigation into the lack of water in fire hydrants. The governor said that he was asking the same questions that people on the street were asking. What the hell happened? We need answers to ensure this does not happen again, and we have every resource available to fight these catastrophic fires. Los Angeles Fire Department Chief Kristen Crowley said that budget reduction is where the problem lies. In an interview on CNN on Friday, Crowley said, "I want to be very, very clear. Yes, we took a $17 million budget cut. And as we know, any budget cut would negatively impact our ability to carry out our mission. We need to be fully funded and supported so that our firefighters can do their jobs. Additional resources coming in will help us with the current disaster, but moving forward, that potential can happen anywhere in the entire city of Los Angeles, and we need to be fully funded and supported." The National Weather Service forecasts strong winds through Wednesday, with sustained winds of up to 50 miles per hour and gusts of winds up to 70 miles per hour in the mountain areas. Elon Musk is planning to provide Wi-Fi to fire-stricken areas using Starlink and Cybertrucks. He wrote in a post on X on Sunday, "Apologies to those expecting Cybertruck deliveries in California over the next few days. We need to use those trucks as mobile base stations to provide power to Starlink internet terminals in areas of LA without connectivity. A new truck will be delivered end of week." Musk also said that security personnel would be added to the Cybertrucks along with snacks and beverages for people passing by. There was a reporter who said Starlink is the only reason we're able to hear and communicate with you guys right now, because there's absolutely no cell service at all in this whole area. The fires caused power outages and they disrupted communication networks in several areas. Former child actor Rory Callum Sykes died on Wednesday. He died because his mom could not retrieve emergency services due to limited resources, including power. Rory, an Australian actor who was born blind and with cerebral palsy, starred on the British television show Kitty Capers. Sykes and his mother lived in their Malibu home when the Palisades Fire ignited. His mother, Shelley Sykes, said that as the Palisade Fire encroached on the community, she had no form of communication with the outside world. She told Australia's 10 News first. Guess what didn't work? 911, and all the phone lines were down. He said, "Mom, leave me," and no mom can leave their kid. "I've got a broken arm. I couldn't lift him. I couldn't move him." In an attempt to evacuate, she drove to her local fire station for help and was told they had no water. Sykes recalled, "When the fire department brought me back, his cottage was burned to the ground. He was my baby, and he died needlessly." Greenland's leaders were quick to react to President Trump's comments regarding the island in the north at a press conference in Copenhagen on Friday. Greenland Prime Minister Mute Agade said that he was ready to talk to President Trump. He said, "We're ready to talk. Cooperation is about dialogue. Cooperation means that you will work towards solutions." He emphasized Greenland's desire for independence. He said, "We have a desire for independence, a desire to be the master of our own house. This is something everyone should respect." Greenland had been a colony of Denmark since the 18th century and became a self-governing Danish territory in 1953. In 2009, the island won the right to secure independence if they ever voted to do so. He also said, "Greenland is for the Greenlandic people. We do not want to be Danish, we do not want to be American, we want to be Greenlandic." In addition, Denmark sent a private message to the Trump team offering to discuss strengthening Greenland's security or increasing the U.S. military presence on the island so that the U.S. does not claim sovereignty over the island. The Danish government hopes to convince President Trump that his security concerns about Greenland can be addressed without claiming ownership over Greenland. Vice President-elect J.D. Vance said in an interview that was aired on Sunday that there's a deal to be made in Greenland. That's what President Trump is good at, making deals. Greenland has a lot of great natural resources, Vance said. Data from the U.S. Geological Survey show that Greenland has reserves of up to 1.5 million tons of rare earths. In addition, the island has about 17.5 billion barrels of unexploited oil and about 4.15 trillion cubic meters of natural gas reserves. Vance added that people that Donald Trump Jr. met in Greenland last week told him that they want to be empowered to develop those resources. When Vance was asked if the U.S. would use military force, Vance replied that Greenland already has U.S. troops stationed there, so there's no need for military force. Vance also argued that the Danish government has not done a sufficient job of securing the island. An analysis by David Barker, a former economist at the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, says that the U.S. could purchase Greenland in the same way it purchased the U.S. Virgin Islands from Denmark. In 1917, the West Indies was purchased by the U.S. from Denmark for $25 million, which has become the present-day U.S. Virgin Islands. While politicians may consider this goal to be pure fantasy, the fact is that the people of Greenland have no objection to it. According to a poll by Patriotic Polling released on Sunday, 57.3% of respondents approve of Greenland becoming part of the U.S., and just 37.4% disapprove of the potential acquisition. Former Trump attorney Michael Cohen is upset that President Trump got a free pass in the hush money case. Cohen told MSNBC on Saturday that there should have been accountability or the case should have been dismissed. Cohen said, "I believe that if there's no accountability, there's no deterrence. And if there's no deterrence, no accountability. What's the point to have the case anyway, so that we can all just turn around and refer to him now as the felon president?" Meanwhile, he wanted President Biden to pardon him like he pardoned his son Hunter.
Regarding the pardon, yeah, I put in the application for a presidential pardon because I believe that Joe Biden has the same responsibility to me that he had to his own son. And I would expect that the same exact pardon that he gave his son has to go to me and to anybody else that's on that enemies list, whether they want it or not.
His reason asking for a pardon was that prison was just terrible. The MSNBC hosts felt Cohen's arguments were less than adequate.
Have you heard from the Biden administration? And I am struck by your comparing yourself and Hunter Biden. And I wonder if, well, I'm going to just tell you, Michael Cohen, we're on national TV, we have a conversation. I don't necessarily think that's your best way to go get a pardon. I mean, Hunter Biden is the president's last surviving son. But your other point, why I do think is a strong one.
I'm somebody's son also, by the way.
Agreed. You are somebody's son. But, I mean, to be very clear, you're not the president's son.
On Friday, Special Counsel Jack Smith resigned from the Department of Justice, the DOJ. Over the weekend, Brian Boynton, who is the Principal Deputy Assistant Attorney General, revealed Smith's resignation in the document that was filed in the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of Florida. Boynton wrote, "The special counsel completed his work and submitted his final confidential report on January 7, 2025, and separated from the department on January 10th. Previously, President Trump pledged to fire Smith within 2 seconds of taking the oath of office on January 20th. So now, by leaving the office, Smith will avoid President Trump's threat of firing him. Before resigning, Smith completed a final report on the two investigations. Last week, Attorney General Merrick Garland told the congressional leaders that the report would be made public once the courts had cleared it. And today, U.S. District Judge Aileen Cannon cleared the way for the public release of Volume 1 of the final investigations report. However, Cannon decided to restrict Volume 2 of the report. Volume 1 relates to Smith's election interference case against President Trump, while Volume 2 relates to the classified documents case. The judge noted that the release of Volume 2 would be inconsistent with the defendant's right to a fair trial. Today's order came after Cannon partially denied a motion by two Trump co-defendants to block the public release of the report. In an emergency motion, the two defendants, Nada and De Oliveira, requested to prevent the release of both volumes of Smith's report. They cited concerns about potential prejudice to their pretrial rights. However, Cannon denied one of their requests. Judge Cannon also scheduled a hearing for January 17th to address the DOJ's request for limited disclosure of Volume 2 to congressional leaders. And that's a wrap for this episode. Thank you so much for your support of Front Page. Please remember that every like, comment, and share helps more people to see the truth. If you haven't already, please subscribe. And if you have already subscribed, we thank you, but please double check to make sure that you're still subscribed, because some of our audience have reported that they're somehow unsubscribed without their knowledge. We've also heard that some of you don't get notifications of our videos anymore on YouTube, so when you do subscribe on YouTube, please make sure to tap the notification bell as well. Okay, this is our show for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you like what you heard today, please don't forget to like this video and share it with your friends and family, because everybody deserves to know the truth.